When Mary visited her dad one Sunday afternoon, she noticed something odd. The living room felt too quiet. No jazz on the radio, no cards shuffled on the kitchen table, and his phone, usually buzzing with calls from his old poker buddies, sat untouched on the charger. "Dad, did you talk to Bill this week?" she asked gently, sitting beside him on the worn recliner. He looked away. "Nah, haven't heard from him in a while." That wasn't true. Mary had spoken to Bill just yesterday. He said her dad hadn't picked up the last few times. For a man who once hosted poker nights with Chili and Sinatra, this silence felt heavy. Wrong. At first, Mary chalked it up to winter blues. But the change was deeper than that. He seemed smaller somehow, tired, distant. Social withdrawal in older adults is easy to miss. It doesn't come with alarms or diagnoses. It tiptoes in, missed calls, declined invitations, unspoken loneliness. But beneath it can lie something more serious. Doctors say that when someone starts pulling away from social circles, it may be an early sign of depression, memory decline, or even a quiet restlessness that sometimes appears near the end of life. The aha moment came 2 weeks later. Mary brought over an old photo album. As they flipped through pictures of backyard barbecues and fishing trips, her father smiled for the first time in days. "That was the day we all got sunburned," he chuckled, tapping a picture of him and Bill holding up a trout. That's when she realized he hadn't stopped caring. He just needed someone to reach through the silence. If you're noticing something similar in your parents or grandparents, try this. Bring their world back to them. A photo, a familiar voice, a story from the past. Sometimes the heart just needs a little nudge. Studies show that older adults with regular social interaction live longer and have 70% better cognitive function than those who feel isolated. So ask yourself, who did your parents love spending time with before? And how can you help bring that connection back? If you've seen a loved one slowly drift into silence, share your experience in the comments. Your story might help someone else recognize the signs too. And if this touched your heart, consider sharing it with someone who needs to hear it. 2. Changes in sleep and energy. Joan used to be the kind of woman who lit up a room. She'd dance in the kitchen while cooking, humming Patsy Cline tunes, and telling her grandkids bedtime stories that went on way past bedtime. But lately, something had shifted. Her daughter, Linda, noticed it first. "Mom's been sleeping a lot," she told her husband one evening. "Like, go to bed at 6. And she barely touches her toast in the morning." At first, they thought maybe she was just tired. After all, she was 84 now. But even when she slept for 12 or 13 hours, Joan still seemed drained. Quiet, slower to smile. Not quite herself. "I just feel tired, honey," Joan would say, offering a soft smile. "Guess I'm finally slowing down." What Linda didn't know then was that this kind of deep fatigue and shifting sleep pattern can be more than just aging. As we grow older, the body's internal systems, metabolism, brain function, even our body clock begin to change. When someone starts sleeping more than usual, especially if they still seem tired, it might be the body's quiet way of preparing for its final chapter. But there was one afternoon that changed everything for Linda. She found an old VHS tape in a drawer, Joan's 60th birthday party. Music, laughter, her mom twirling with her dad on the patio. She played it softly while making tea, not expecting much. But then Joan walked in. "Oh my," Joan whispered, her eyes misting. "That dress, I love that dress." They watched the whole tape together, hand in hand. Joan even laughed at her own jokes. And Linda realized something vital. Her mother was still there, still feeling, even if her energy wasn't the same. That was her aha moment. Instead of urging Joan to be more active or stay awake longer, Linda leaned into comfort. Soft blankets, warm drinks, quiet stories, and gentle presence. Studies show that fatigue in late life is not just about aging. It can be part of the body's way of conserving energy as organs naturally slow down. Forcing activity often causes more distress than benefit. If your loved one seems more tired these days, don't panic, but don't ignore it either. Do you remember when they were full of life? Share one of your favorite memories in the comments. Your story could remind someone else of the beauty in slowing down. And if you care for someone aging gracefully, send this to a friend who needs to hear it. 3. decline in appetite, and weight loss. Frank had always loved to eat. His Sunday dinners were legendary, with his famous meatballs that had everyone going back for seconds and thirds. But recently, things had changed. His daughter, Nancy, noticed it when she tried to sit down for their weekly meal. Frank barely touched his plate. The roast chicken, the mashed potatoes, his favorites, sat untouched. "Are you feeling okay, Dad?" Nancy asked, gently pushing the plate toward him. He looked up, eyes a little distant. "I'm just not hungry, sweetheart. I don't know why, but nothing sounds good anymore." At first, Nancy figured it was just a phase. But week after week, the pattern didn't change. Frank wasn't eating his meals, and he seemed to have lost weight too. His once muscular frame had thinned, and his face looked tired. This wasn't just about food, it was something deeper. As people age, their bodies slow down in many ways. Their metabolism changes, their digestive system can struggle to absorb nutrients, and even their sense of taste and smell dulls. Studies show that older adults may also experience a loss of appetite due to factors like medications, depression, or a decrease in activity level. This can lead to unintended weight loss, which over time can become dangerous, weakening the immune system and making it harder to recover from illnesses. But Nancy didn't know this yet. She just saw her father shrinking before her eyes, and she felt helpless. One afternoon, Nancy decided to do something different. Instead of pushing Frank to finish his meal, she sat with him and asked about the old days. She pulled out a photo album full of pictures of family vacations, childhood memories, and Frank's early days in the Army. As they flipped through the album, Frank's eyes lit up, and for a brief moment, he smiled, his old self shining through. "Remember that trip to the Grand Canyon, Nancy? You were so little, you fell asleep in my lap." Nancy smiled, wiping away a tear. She didn't push him to eat. Instead, she simply kept him company. And slowly, over time, she noticed that Frank started eating again, just a little at first. He wasn't back to his old appetite, but it was something. If your loved one is showing signs of losing interest in food, don't just think about what's missing from their plate. Think about what's missing from their life. Try to bring joy into mealtime again. Maybe it's not about the food. Maybe it's about the memories. Have you noticed your loved one eating less? Share your story in the comments. You might help someone who's facing the same struggles. And if you found ways to bring joy back to the table, send this video to someone who might need the reminder. 4. Changes in mobility and balance. It used to be that Margie was the first one on the dance floor at every family gathering. She'd twirl around the kitchen, humming her favorite tunes while making dinner. Her energy always contagious. But over the last few months, something had shifted. It started with small things. Margie mentioning that her legs felt a little stiff or that she was more tired after walking around the block. But soon it became clear. She was walking slower, holding onto the walls as she moved around her house. Her once confident steps now shaky and hesitant. One Sunday, her granddaughter, Emma, was visiting. They were sitting in the living room, chatting about old times when Margie tried to stand up from her chair. She grabbed the armrest to push herself up, but then hesitated, her legs unsteady. "I'm just a little tired today, sweetheart," she said, but Emma could tell that it wasn't just tiredness. It was something more. Margie's balance was off. She stumbled slightly as she tried to walk, and Emma quickly reached out to steady her. "Maybe we should get you checked out," Emma suggested gently. Margie waved it off, trying to laugh it off, but Emma could see the worry in her eyes. She knew her grandmother, and this wasn't like her. As we age, our muscles naturally lose strength and flexibility. The bones become more fragile, and our nervous system doesn't respond as quickly as it used to, all of which can affect our balance. In fact, studies show that nearly 1 in 3 adults over 65 will experience a fall each year. That's why it's so important to monitor changes in balance and mobility closely, as it could be a sign that the body isn't functioning at full capacity. But there are ways to help. Simple exercises to improve balance, like Tai Chi or even walking for 10 minutes a day, can make a huge difference. And it's not just about preventing falls. Staying active can improve strength and overall well-being. Emma knew it was time to make sure her grandmother wasn't alone when she was moving around. She started walking with Margie every morning, holding her arm for extra support. They talk about the old days, share stories, and laugh. Margie started to feel a little steadier, both physically and emotionally. If you notice a loved one's balance or mobility beginning to change, don't ignore it. Offer a hand or help them find exercises or physical therapy that could strengthen their muscles and keep them moving safely. And most importantly, offer your time and companionship. Have you seen a loved one struggle with balance or movement? What do you do to help? Share your thoughts in the comments. And if you found this helpful, send this video to someone who needs to hear it. You never know who might need that extra nudge to reach out and help. 5. Unexplained weight loss. For as long as anyone could remember, Charlie was known for his hearty appetite. He'd always be the first to finish his plate at family dinners, never hesitating to ask for seconds. It was his signature, and everyone teased him about it. But when his daughter, Sarah, came to visit one weekend, something felt off. Charlie had always been tall and sturdy, but now he seemed smaller, thinner. His once broad frame was a bit more angular, and he wasn't finishing his meals. At breakfast, he barely touched his eggs and bacon, pushing them around with his fork as if the food didn't appeal to him anymore. "Dad, is everything okay?" Sarah asked, sitting down across from him. Charlie looked up, his eyes tired. "Oh, it's nothing, sweetie. Just not hungry these days." But Sarah wasn't convinced. Over the next few weeks, Charlie continued to lose weight. He complained of feeling fatigued, even though he had always been an active person. His clothes were loose on him, and he looked more frail with each passing day. Unexplained weight loss can be a sign that something more serious is happening in the body, particularly for older adults. It could be due to a number of factors: loss of appetite, depression, problems with digestion, or even a medical condition like heart failure, cancer, or diabetes. In fact, studies show that about 20% of seniors experience unintended weight loss, which can lead to muscle wasting and a weakened immune system, making them more vulnerable to illness. Charlie's doctor explained that his metabolism was slowing down as part of the aging process, and that it could be a combination of factors that were leading to his weight loss. He advised Charlie to eat smaller, more frequent meals, and a focus on high-protein, nutrient-dense foods that could help maintain muscle mass. But beyond the diet changes, Sarah realized that her dad's emotional health was just as important. "I miss the days when you'd eat everything I cooked," Sarah said one afternoon, stirring the pot roast she had made. "Maybe it's time we find something that gets you excited about eating again. How about I make your favorite casserole tonight?" Charlie smiled weakly. "That sounds nice, Sarah. Maybe that'll get me to eat a bit more." It's essential to monitor a loved one's weight, especially when it's unexplained. Small changes in diet and offering them comfort during meals can go a long way. Sometimes it's not just about the food. It's about making the experience meaningful again. And sometimes the emotional connection is just as important as the nutritional one. If you notice a loved one losing weight or having difficulty eating, try to help them find foods that bring them comfort and joy. Keep an eye on any other symptoms that might indicate something more serious, and don't hesitate to reach out to a healthcare professional for guidance. Has anyone in your family struggled with weight loss as they aged? What kind of things helped them regain their appetite? Share your experience with us in the comments below. And if you found this video helpful, share it with someone who might need it. Sometimes, the smallest changes can make the biggest difference. As we go through life, certain signs often go unnoticed, subtle whispers of change that, if ignored, can be more damaging than we realize. When we look at our loved ones, those who've always been the strongest, the most independent, it can be hard to see the shifts happening right in front of us. But those little signs, they matter. Sudden withdrawal from social activities, changes in sleep patterns, or a drop in energy levels. These are all signals that something deeper might be at play. For example, studies show that a decline in sleep quality or changes in energy levels can be linked to aging-related changes in the body's metabolism and nervous system. These shifts can lead to a heightened risk of other health issues, but they don't have to go unnoticed. These signs aren't always obvious. They whisper, not shout. But if we listen, We can be there for our loved ones in ways that truly matter. Don't wait until it's too late. If you have an aging loved one, watch for these signs. Don't wait to show them the love and care they deserve. Comment below what changes you've noticed. Your words might be just what someone else needs to hear. Share this video with someone who might need it today. And if you want more gentle, honest health stories like this, hit subscribe and turn on the bell. You're not alone in this journey.